statements. So I gotta consider all these ideas, right? Because Canda Cup was a really interesting experience. It was the first time I ever went to Canada, which is another country, so it counts, right? So I went to Canada. So as a traveler, that was an experience. As a attendee of a fighting game tournament live / commentator, which I think both get thrown into the same boat, right? Attendee / commentator. Even though I'm staff, I'm still there not to play, right? And then I entered the tournament and played. So I'm a player. I did well enough to make it to top 8, to grand finals. So these are all different experiences that I had, right? That you have to kind of put together. So let's start at the top because I know everyone's going to want to know. And I'll skip the boring stuff because who gives a shit. First things first, my flights were great. And I'm very, very grateful for that. I watched The Hateful Eight and Desperado and Die Hard with a Vengeance on the flights. Awesome. The Hateful Eight, it was the first time I ever saw it, and I loved it. I especially liked the Mexican cowboy named Bob. That guy was my favorite character. That guy. That guy was hilarious. So I loved the movie. I really liked it a lot. And, it really helped with my getting spooked on the flights and everything. So the flights were great. Couldn't have asked for better. The event as an attendee, right, was so interesting because up until this point, I would have said there are two types of fighting game tournaments, right? There's the type where it's a specialized venue for events like this, like Evo and Combo Breaker. They went out of their way to get a convention center to make this an event, right? So that's one type. And the other type is the tournaments that use a hotel like ballroom, and they split the event up in multiple rooms, right? Up until now, I would have said that for a fighting game tournament to be a real zinger, like a top tier tournament, it's got to do the Combo Breaker thing, because Combo Breaker really separated itself this year. I've been to them all, right? It separated itself. I mean, you got CEO, you got Final Round, you got all the other ones that are kind of separated and,
Welcome back, Lord Umbasa.
Thanks very much, 1-incher. I appreciate it. That's really nice of you. Let me just keep my thoughts together. So those tournaments like CEO and Final Round and shit, they're using multiple little like rooms to have their tournament in, and there are issues every time. One of the rooms is very uncomfortable. Whatever, delays in the clock or whatever issues there are. So up until now, I would have said that those are the two types of fighting game tournaments, right? And you need to be in the Combo Breaker Evo group to have a really elite tournament. But I can tell you that I was wrong because Canda Cup used the strategy of Final Round, of CEO, and all the other ones like that, where it's a regular hotel. They use multiple different ballrooms because each one is too small to have the whole thing there. And, to me, this venue showed me that the tournament organizer can make sure that it's comfortable for everyone. That there was never a problem with the AC. I guarantee you if there was, everyone would have got a cold, right? This would have been one of those tournaments where everyone caught a cold because outside was very cold. So if it was really hot inside the way it always is, it would have been a much worse event. So overall, I can say that Canda Cup showed me that you can be an elite tournament without having to go to the extent of renting out an entire convention, like convention center or whatever. So, I have to give them credit. Because when a tournament fucks up, I always talk shit and I always complain. So if in this case, I have to give them credit. It was a good tournament in all regards except for the Smash. I fell asleep. There was so much Smash on Sunday, I fell asleep and I missed Street Fighter Top 8. All day on Sunday, I was talking about, can't wait to watch Street Fighter. Onuki's in there, Alex Meyer's in there, that Taiwanese kid that's always doing the thumbs up and shit, he's in there. I fell asleep. I mean, it was whack. That was whack. I was like, all right, why am I in the main ballroom or whatever, watching Smash when I could just go to my room, relax, and come back for Street Fighter? I fell asleep. And that was that. So, adjustments could be made, but overall, I think Canda Cup was definitely like a premier event in my eyes. It's almost up there with Combo Breaker. I think Combo Breaker is very special because of the the venue first of all, but also the 24-hour, BYOC 24-hour. So there's no need for like a salty sweet because the main room is the salty sweet. Good idea. So it's like almost up there with Combo Breaker. Canda Cup was great though. I would give it good grades. It was a great tournament, So, all that being said, let me get a sip. It's coffee. I want it to get wired up, It doesn't work, though. Anyway, thanks again, 1-incher. I appreciate that. So, I entered the tournament. Thankfully, they let me enter. And, as a player, right, obviously, much like the rest of you, I did not have high expectations for myself. Especially when you consider the level of the players that I've been losing to lately. It's definitely like, this guy's whack. And I agree with you 100%. You lose to these players, you're whack. That's what I was telling myself. So, one of the things, and round that, I do appreciate the 4 inches. Thanks very much. So, for me, I was really thinking about how am I losing to players that I feel like I know I can beat? Well, there's a few reasons. The game is new, so it's giving you situations that you're uncomfortable in. You're also rusty, so you're not confident in your execution, your control of your character, and all that stuff is really like helping you lose, right? But one thing that really I shouldn't be rusty in is just the strategy involved. All you gotta do is think about it, and you can make a strategy and go into the match with a strat, right? So that's what I wanted to focus on. I'm rusty, and there's a lot I don't know, both defensively and with Dragunov, and as well as ideas for other characters, tons of moves I haven't seen. So my goal, basically, was every time I go up for a match, I have to think about how am I gonna beat this guy, knowing that I'm super rusty, I can't do any combos, and I'm missing a ton of knowledge, right? How am I going to beat him? So that was my plan. That was my tournament strategy. Another strategy I had was that on Friday, when I played casuals, I was going to just really scout everyone out and watch them. And when I played casuals, I realized that a lot of these Canadian guys are hella fucking good, right? They were just doing all this stuff that's like, man, this guy watches YouTube. You've never played the game before. Tekken 7's never been in Canada. So how the fuck do you know how to do that? These max damage combos, right? And I'm just thinking to myself, these nerds, they study, right? So these guys became dangerous to me on Friday, right? A lot of them. There was a Steve player, the guy who made top 8 with Horang, the guy who, I played a Brian player that was solid. I just played a bunch of people that I was like, damn, these guys are fucking watching YouTube and they know all this shit and they're sharp because they play Tekken Tag 2. So I'm pissed on Friday. I was pissed. I was thinking all these guys are good. I'm pissed. So when it became Friday night, which was when the tournament basically was, Friday night, I was watching these same players, right? These same players that were really dangerous, right? And they were really falling apart in tournament. It was clear as day. These guys, though they are very good, they've done a lot of research on their character. The tournament nerves were not good. They were just not good. And it seemed, and some of them even approached me about it. Man, I get spooked. What do I do about tournament nerves? So I'm starting to realize that these players are really solid, but they just don't have tournament experience because they don't travel, right? So that gave me a little bit of confidence. And that made me think that, okay, it's the one thing that I have that they don't have. They have everything I don't have, except for this one thing. tournament experience. So how am I going to beat these guys? I got to find out what they don't know, right? And so that was my strategy the whole time. What does this guy not know about Dragunov? So, long story short, my whole plan was to let Dragunov beat these guys because I know I can't. I'm super shitty right now. I could barely, when I was playing against that Jack player, I was really, really trying hard. Also, I also got very lucky that I didn't run into any bullshit. The only new character I played against was one Claudio, I think. And I don't think he was very good, or I don't remember the match very much. But I got lucky. I didn't run into, for example, right? If you look at the bracket, if Oni Jin had lost to Renekon, I would have had to have fought Renekon's Chloe, which most certainly would have pushed my shit in. So, more or less, Fox 30 News. Lord Balsack, thanks very much. Here. I appreciate it. More or less, it was a combination, just like any tournament. It was a combination of luck, and I had to really focus on what my skills are and what my skills aren't, right? It was like a clear look at yourself, accept what you can and can't do, and focus on what you know you can do. I have a brain, I could strategize, so that's what it was. It was strategy. I played against some of these guys on Friday, and, I just remembered what they did, and I thought about it, and I remembered what they didn't know about my character, and I just applied it, and I got lucky, basically. But thanks for the kind words. My match against Punko also, the last time I played him was at CEO, and the last time I played against any Akuma at all was against him. So, at CEO, I don't remember when that was, I think that was in June, right? But regardless of that, I've watched YouTube with Akuma, and I've been thinking about it. So, I had some strategies in play, but obviously, Punko combined with Akuma, combined with this patch, he's good. What can I say? I'm not a hater, though. I'm not a Punko hater, and I'm not a Akuma hater, even in this version. Akuma is a very beatable character. Even in this version, in tournament especially, is what I'm saying. But, dealing with, all these things all together, it's very difficult. It reminds me very much of Tekken 5 Steve or Nina or, Tekken 4 Jin. Specifically Tekken 4 Jin, because there were a lot of strategies you could use to beat Jin that were weird, partial escapes to get out of Laser Scraper, and just some ideas that would really tilt the match in your favor, especially in tournament. So anyway, FPS AJ and Metallic Elite, thanks very much for the resubs. Or sorry, AJ was a new one, and Metallic Elite, thanks for the big 25. Yeah, Punko's hella good. He's hella good. And he even told me after the patch it's really the same thing, because before the patch, I was asking Punko about what he thinks about Akuma.
Thank you.
And he was saying that, thanks very much. Knots, thanks very much. He was saying that this version is very, very cheap. But even after the patch, all they did was make it a more linear experience with what your options are with Akuma. But they're still just as good. In the version that I played against Punko at Grand Finals, it's almost like there's a fork in the road on how you can fuck someone up with Akuma. There's 4 directions you could go in, right? But after the patch, it's okay, there's 2. But both are still so good, right? So really, they didn't nerf anything. They just reduced the number of avenues that Akuma can go on in his journey to fucking you up, basically.
Thank you.
Godlike Hawkty and 3 God. And Knots. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Muchos Garcias. Excuse me. Thanks again for those resubs. So, it's funny. I got second place at the tournament, and I think I deserved it, right? But I think that a lot of the other guys in the tournament are way better at Tekken 7 than I am. So, I think that I wasn't the best non-Asian Tekken 7 player there. But I think I had, of a lot of the players in that tournament, probably all, I had the most tournament experience, I think. And even though I did get really nervous and I forgot most of the punishes in the game, you know, this tournament and also the one where I lost to L Train, both those tournaments really reminded me that I'm not even a Tekken player anymore. I haven't played Tekken in like since last December. I literally haven't played. You know, when you sit down and play, that's one thing, but you got to think about it. If you don't think about it, then you're not a Tekken player. If you think about it, then you're a Tekken player. And I think losing to L Train at SCR really jostled my duodenum. And I was thinking, man, you really fell off if you're losing to everyone under the sun, right? Everyone under the sun could beat you. And I was getting so nervous playing against players that they're scared of me, right? These guys I sit next to half the time, all I gotta do is look over, and these guys are like, fucking, oh man, you know? And I'm thinking like, dude, just look at them. They're scared of you, you know? So don't be scared of them. And that's really what I had to remind myself. Like, dude, you know, no matter how shitty you are, no matter how rusty you are and how little you know about the game, in the end, they're scared of you. I mean, whatever the math is, it doesn't matter what the equation is. The final result is, even if they're better than you, they're still scared of you, you know? And you could see it. So I was just thinking to myself, if you don't scare, I don't scare. And just play and you could win. Because a lot of the situations really were, this guy doesn't know everything about Dragunov. Let me just fucking throw the sink at him. And he's going to be like, the sink? Boom. And then just let your experience take away the rest, you know? Do something to fuck the guy's brain and then let your experience take the reins and win. So that's really how I feel like it went. But good games to everyone and great games to Punko. And I'm a big Punko fan and I'm a big Akuma fan as well, in case you're wondering. It's just a little chip at the moment. But Canda Cup was sweet. I didn't have a fucking issue the whole time. Let me thank these people. Elbow Drop. Thanks very much. Good food while in Canada. Just really poutine. Everything else was kind of like crappy. Oh, and their chips were impressive. They have habanero Doritos, which we don't have anymore. All dressed up Ruffles, which are pretty damn good. Lots of different chips that I like. Guacamole Doritos? What the fuck? You know, like, it was sick. That part was sick. No Form. Thanks very much. Lethal Mind 16. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, great trip. I wish they could all be this good. Right? How was the flight? It was beautiful. It was awesome. Smooth. I watched The Hateful Eight. I thought it was very funny. I laughed a few times. I didn't think it would be that funny. That Mexican guy, Bob, was the best. I love that guy.
Thank you.
Kaba Bobaba. Thanks for the Twitch Prime. And thanks again, Lethal Mind. So yeah, it was sick. Canda Cup was great. I would consider that to be one of the most organized and comfortable for the attendee tournaments I've been to all year. The 8 hours of Smash Brothers cannot be ignored. But all the way up until that point, and even during that point, at least the main room was comfortable. They had seats. It was plentiful, you know? So, good shit. How did the tournament affect your outlook on competitive Tekken as a player? Well, like I said, I really wasn't playing Tekken 7 this weekend at all.
Thank you.
I was just entering in a tournament for a game that I kind of know how to play, and I used my strategies and experience to win.
Jack Miller, Fox
I don't really
News.
think I think I suck at
one
Tekken
if
7.
you practiced with TTT2 a week beforehand. Yeah, I know trash too, but that cost you a spot in the world tournament.
I don't think I want to play. It's not the World Tournament. It's the National Tournament. That was Lord Tits. And Johnny Beto, thanks very much for the resub. But I don't want to play in the National Tournament. I'd rather commentate it. And because I'm not very good at Tekken 7, you know, and I don't want, you know, someone who's not dedicated to Tekken 7 to play in the National. I want people who are dedicated, right? So that's what I would want. And Tag 2's garbage. I would rather get second to Punko than invest even a second of time in Tag 2. That game is terrible, and I'll never play it again. But I really enjoy playing Tekken 7. It's so good, and it's so addictive. So as a competitor, you know, I don't know. You know, I didn't really see it as a Tekken 7 tournament. I just felt like it was a tournament, and I just figured out how to beat my opponents. You know, I'm really bad at Tekken 7. There's so many mistakes. I can't even watch my own matches because they're just like, why would you even do that to yourself? It's too ugly. You know, like there are too many mistakes. Even myself, like I played against the Xiaoyu player, and every time I blocked California roll, I did down back 2, and he fucking punch parried it. And I've been telling, I just talked to this guy, Manny Biggs, in the chat about how that's minus 10 back turned and how I could fuck it up. Every time that happened, I was like, damn, I'm the one telling other people to do shit that I'm not doing, right? So, you know, I just, you gotta think about these things. You know, I suck at Tekken 7. It's really ugly. It's really ugly, but I was able to win with just experience, tournament experience. These guys were all spooked of me. Half of them, right? Half of them were just real spooked. And the other half were like, you know, I don't know. You just gotta block sometimes, I felt. That's what I really did. I was like, man, these guys are just gonna kill themselves if you just block. Especially Neo Russell. Like, of course, when I got the momentum, I was like, yeah, kill this guy, right? Attack until you know the frame traps are done, right? But, you know, otherwise, out in the open, spacing-wise, I was like, you could at least backdash. So just backdash and block. Yeah, I'm a noob. You know, that's basically what it is. I'm trying this competitive gaming thing out. Okay, I'm dipping my toe in the water and testing things out. I didn't try any maple syrup, but I did try a dessert that had some maple syrup in it and raisins. It was really good. Good shit. Good shit. Thanks again, Tits. But yeah, I'm not really... Honestly, I was so shocked that I got second place. We were talking about it the day before, like, you know, who's going to play, who's going to win and stuff. And my name was nowhere, not only in my mind, but anyone's mind, right? No one was even thinking about my name. And neither was I. But, you know, whatever, that's the way it turned out. I got lucky. Even losing, I lost in pools to this guy Mishimized, whom I later played in top 16. And I got a double jeopardy with him. The first time I played him, it was a reminder of my match against L Train. Because he's really the type of player where he's really good and knows his shit, but I could beat him. He doesn't have the experience not only in tournament, but also against my character. I could beat him. So I lost to him, and it just reminded me of L Train. So I just remembered, you know, tighten up your fucking culo and don't let these dumb strategies slip through, you know? It's a classic strategy. Just fucking be careful. Be more careful. That's it. Cautious. You have to show them respect. You know, even if, myself at least, I don't know about you guys, but if I feel like I can beat someone, it doesn't mean that it's, like, set in stone. It has to actually happen. So, it's like a fucking, you know... It's like a navigation thing, you know, like what do you call it? Fucking GPS. It's telling you how to get there. I know the fucking directions and I know how to get there, but it doesn't mean I don't have to get in the driver's seat and fucking put the pedal to the metal and actually get there. So yeah, I got the strategies this time. Now it's just a matter of sitting down, buckling up, and doing it the way it's a well-laid plan. It's a well-laid plan. Make sure it doesn't end up in your well-laid ass, is what I'm saying. Anyway, it's really nice to be back. I should have played a little bit more Lego Batman. If I played a little more Lego Batman. This game's sick. Anyway, thanks for all the kind words and all the kind generosity. I appreciate it. Good shit.
We are indebted to you, for you fight on our
Mustang
behalf.
Panch. Thanks very much. Thanks for the 7 inches. Everyone was so nice. Everyone in Canada is just super cool and laid back. I thought they'd be like uptight and French and shit, you know, with all the baguettes and jambons going on, right? But everyone was really laid back, really cool, welcoming, hospitable, but like not in a weird way, just normal, like, hey, you know, welcome to Canada. You know, and I thought that, I'm not even just talking about gamers who knew me. I'm talking about like people in general. Like I thought when I said, yeah, I'm from Los Angeles, they'd be like, look at this city slicker, you cold city boy, you know? And it wasn't that way. They were like, yeah, you think this is cold, you know, check this out or whatever. And it was just cool. Everyone was really friendly. And yeah, it was cold as fuck. It was cold. I was looking like a bitch. Really, I was. I was like fucking shivering outside like a damn chihuahua. And I'm like thinking like, us Mexicans, you know, that was too cold for me. I was cold. But everyone was like, whatever. These chicks would walk in a short skirt and they'd be like, whatever, while I'm over here, the wind's blowing my skirt all the way up like I'm Marilyn Monroe. I'm freezing my ass off. I got off the plane with no socks on and shorts. And man, I was putting the socks on during customs when they were asking me if I have any weird oranges and shit. It was crazy. Too cold. But it could have been colder. It wasn't snowing. I kind of brought my weather with me, in a sense, because as soon as I got there, it warmed up and no rain. I got lucky. What am I supposed to do now? I got a dragon longsword. I guess we could kill these guys. Hey, what's up, everybody? Nice to see you. Mike Suma. I don't know if I thanked you, but thanks very much. I appreciate it. It's nice to be back. I missed the stream, that's for sure. I always do. No matter how much fun I have. Which is really like, who says that when they're gone? Who says, man, I miss work? Not a lot of people. But I did, and I do. No, I didn't do much sightseeing. You know, it's not really what I'm into. I did want to... Oh my god, the Asics Assassins are just one of the best. It's like a life-changing purchase. It really is. Because I wasn't even aware that so much of my foot issues were related to my shoes. I'm always just chalking it up to gout, which I have been, you know, diagnosed with, and I do have medicine for. But, yeah, a lot of it was my shoes. And, you know, lessons learned, better late than never. But, yeah, I'm also gonna, even though these shoes were like, I got a really great deal on them, I feel like it was a message from Umbasa, you know? Like, don't be cheap with shoes, get great shoes, and, you know, you'll appreciate it. It'll be worth it.